So hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of this podcast, RGM Experience, with me, Carl Maloney, the host, and Sam Shine. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good, Carl. Hi. Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us today. I like to discuss things on this podcast, and I love meeting new people and champions of new music are all over the place, and I keep seeing you online on Twitter celebrating new bands. You're a manager yourself. You're a champion of new music, and I think it's great. And I wanted to catch up with you, have a chat, find out who Sam is a little bit, and just have a good old shoot the shit time today. How are you
Yeah,
doing? Yeah,
absolutely.
but
Yeah, no, like you said, so there's a lot of new music champions out there now, but which is great. It's like a
yeah,
kind of like a new wave coming through of all this new music. But
yeah,
yeah, so basically in my spare time, that's all I do.
yeah, sure. So just talk us through Sam. Who is Sam, and how did you discover this love of new music?
So it was kind of, yeah, I guess it was kind of like a stone gathering moss kind of thing.
Hmm.
So obviously I think some bands that I kind of liked saw I had like a good following. So they'd ask me to retweet or listen to this, do that, which was fine.
Hmm.
And obviously other bands see that you're retweeting it. So it kind of just started from there, maybe a few
Yeah.
years ago now.
Yeah.
And then I did this big show in Coventry a couple of years ago. Just a shout out to the Lathams. It is Friday today, so we don't yet know whether the Lathams have got a number one album. But
They,
the Lathams
they,
played at my
I,
Coventry show. So
I've heard they are going to be number one, and this podcast goes out, so I'm allowed to say that this podcast goes out after it.
after, oh my goodness, if they
So,
do, we'll be absolutely over the moon. So the Lathams played one of their first ever shows at my
ah,
Coventry gig. But I think kind of from that date, that's kind of it all went a bit wild, but with the whole new music. But I
mm,
just see there's just so much talent out there, and if I've got a platform for all these bands to use to get their music and their names out there, then I'm more than happy to do it. And
mm,
everyone, it's kind of like a little community now. Like all the other bands like support each other, and
mm.
they're just all really amazing people. So yeah, it's great. It's hard work and it's pretty full on most days, but I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
So, what is this platform you've got then? Just talk me through that.
Well, I suppose it's just I suppose just like the number of followers, I guess,
Okay,
that I've got. So that sort of came from elsewhere.
but you put
But
gigs on.
yeah,
You're
Um,
promoting.
n- yeah, a few. I've got a few coming up that we're putting on. We've got one in Liverpool in a
Mm,
few weeks' time, and with some new bands. One in London next January. And I
mm.
don't do loads, it's like the odd one here and there. I
So
wouldn't say I'm a
where are
promoter.
you based? Where are you based?
Wiltshire.
Wiltshire. Okay, but these gigs are all over the country, so you're spreading your wings and finding new pockets of music loving people all over the place.
Yeah, anywhere but Wiltshire, basically.
Oh,
Not
right.
much goes
Okay.
on down here. I think we've
Okay.
got the nearest venue will be the Cheese and Grain in Frome. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I haven't. No, I'm based in
It's
Manchester.
a good little venue actually. We
Yeah.
saw the Coral there a couple of years ago, but yeah,
Okay.
we've not really got down in the southwest. It's not really a huge music scene, so
Yeah.
yeah, we'll take it to the where the
Sure.
music capitals are.
So you mentioned you had a gig with the Lathams. What were they like back in the day? Because I interviewed them at Tramlines recently, and they're so chilled out about it all. They're on the cusp of something special, and the journey's just beginning for them, and it all looks great, and things are just going mental for them. But they were
I
so
know.
they were so laid back, and it were like, meh, just another day type thing. That's the kind of lads they are, and they're just taking it in the stride,
Yeah,
enjoying their
they're
day.
exactly the same now as they were like 2 years
Mm,
ago. Like,
yeah,
and obviously we could see like their talent, and you could see
yeah,
like what the potential was. But I don't think anyone in their wildest dreams ever thought that from where they were 2 years ago that they'd be getting a UK number one album. It's just mind blowing. But they're so down to earth and so humble,
yeah.
and everyone in their team that's behind them has worked so hard. Like, so yeah, they deserve all the success.
What do you think? Where's the magic? What is it with them? Can you put it into words?
I don't know.
I can't. I
I just think they've
can't. I'm
got. I just
struggling with
think
it.
it's not just about the music. It's about the whole image, and
Mm,
it's about the way that they've connected with their fans.
yeah.
They've built up this completely cult following. So when it comes to anything that they do, they've just got these cult followers that will be there forever. So I think it's just the way that they connect with people too, and the way that they advertise things, and
Yeah.
that just really like right timing. So announcing EPs and single release at the right time, doing an album at the right time. I just think it's all about good timing, and yeah, just I don't even know if it's luck. I don't think luck even comes into it. I think they've just played it perfectly.
Hard work, yeah.
Yeah.
And they've worked so bloody hard, haven't they?
Yeah, worked really hard. Like they're constantly out doing shows, and like during lockdown and stuff as well. That they did that Blackpool Tower like
Mm.
live event. Obviously, like everyone was watching from home, but yeah, I just think they deserve it all. And it's just great for guitar music as well, because obviously we had the Snuts getting a #1 album
Yeah.
a couple of months ago now. So I think like going back to like the early noughties, I've spoken about this a lot with people recently. It just seems like there's a bit of a shift in the music now, like what's popular. So it's great to see.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I did notice that the band are doing, random fans were posting online and that they'd received like a big Latham's flag. They haven't bought it.
Yeah,
They just sent it out to random fans, and they're
yeah,
tweeting the band saying, "What's this? I ain't ordered this." And the band are replying.
exactly.
The band are replying saying, "It's a gift to you from us," type thing. That
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like
I love that.
that's just such a thoughtful thing to do, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, I saw that too. The people getting random flags through.
Yeah, great that. So the timing of it all, because you're a manager as well. I'm trying to figure out how when I see a success like the Lathams, I manage a band as well, so I'm trying to learn from seeing these successes that are out there and figure out how we can help other people and maybe rip off in a a bit of a not great words, but just
No,
maybe
absolutely.
copy what they're doing and help other bands do it in a similar kind of way.
Inspiration, Carl. It's
That's the word I'm looking
inspiration.
for. Yeah, that's the word failed me again. Um, how do we look at this band as an inspiration and support other bands? What should we take from it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I obviously see like a lot of what the successful bands are doing, and I think that's just just keeping an eye on what they're doing, really, just making
Yeah.
mental notes about stuff that's really successful. But I think like the fan engagement is a really important thing. So if you're managing a band, about creating this kind of fan base that will support you through anything, because if you get those loyal fans, they're just going to talk about you to everybody. So I think that's the main thing. I mean, with the Ras, obviously I only took over managing them a few months ago, and they've not actually played yet since they're just about to embark on their UK tour, on their tour
Oh,
in a
great.
few weeks, but they've not actually played, so it's been quite difficult for us to create like engaging content, because they've not really done anything, because
Yeah.
the singer was getting married. But I
Okay.
think like going forward, I think we're gonna just try and everyone that comes to see us, just to see them play, like try and
Yeah.
engage with them. And obviously any if people have enjoyed the gig, then hopefully they'll just talk about it, and
Mm.
that's what you want. You want people to spread the word, I think.
Yeah. The timing. How do you plan timing? How do you predict when's a good time to release stuff or engage with your fans? I don't think I'm ever going to get the hang of timing things well. What is the
I
dead?
know.
I
I
don't,
think it's just trial and error. Like the
yeah,
Rise have got this song, if you never try, you'll never know.
yeah,
And that's kind of like, since I've been with them, that's kind of like our ethos. So if we see like a great band playing in Glasgow, I've got no qualms. I'll just message them on Instagram.
mm,
99% of the time they won't reply, but you never know. One time they might go, oh yeah, actually,
yeah,
this band are really good. But yeah, so we're just like just constantly looking out for opportunities that will be beneficial to them, really. So it's, I think, more like quality over quantity too. So
yes.
yeah, I don't know. We just try anything, really.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just trying to learn, Sam, and it's.
Oh God, I'm so new to this so car. I've never done it before, so I'm completely new to
Oh,
it.
and another thing about like this industry, it's a really small industry as well, and everybody does kind of seem to know each other a little bit. I think somehow, because the internet's out there and everybody can see everything that everybody's doing, which is has its pros and cons, I suppose. What would you like to see change in the industry, if anything?
Yeah, so you asked me this question.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me is what bands actually get back from the music that they put out at this kind of like grassroots level.
Hmm.
So in terms of like people like Spotify and Apple, I think they just need to pay artists a lot more, like per stream. I don't think you can really ask fans to do much more, because most bands have got merchandise on sale, and obviously not everyone can
Yeah.
afford it. But I think people that are making a lot of money from these bands, like life's work and such hard work that they put into it. I think like 0.0014 pence of a I think it's 0.0014 pence they get per stream on Spotify. And that needs to change. Like, I think Spotify needs to be more about supporting the artist rather than just completely taking it away from.
I definitely think raising awareness. Somebody, a band tweeted, I think it were Cold Water Swimmers in Manchester, posted like
Cold Water Swimmers.
Yeah, if you buy a T-shirt from us, it's equivalent to like 100,000 streams or something mental like that, and it means so much more to a band to. I've had many chats with people in the industry, and people do say, and I keep saying it, I don't like saying it, but the music industry is a T-shirt selling business. And that's how bands make the money, unfortunately, because there's no money in the actual, in their art, in the actual, in the music these days, which is a shame.
I know it's well, I own over 300 band T-shirts, so I've done my bit.
Fair enough. You're holding the industry up all on your own there, Sam.
I know. I've kept the music industry afloat. But no. But like you say, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because the people that are making the most money, they're always going to be the ones that are going to be making the huge profits. But I think I would probably say for the majority of bands that the reason they do it is just because they love being in a band. Yeah. And I think it's like every school kid's dream, isn't it, to grow up and be in a rock band. So I think for the majority of it, that they do it because they love doing the music. But at the same time, what they get back, I think that they're just frustrated, and obviously it's most bands will end up out of pocket if they have to travel anywhere to go and play a gig.
There's still positives to having your music accessible, and wherever you are in the world you can find any band on Spotify, so that has its positives, and you can make a career by having your music out there in the world. When I used to be in a band, it just used to be passing on CDs and tapes to people.
You used to be in a band, did you? Yeah. What did you do in the band?
I did the easy bit, the rhythm guitar bit, and backing vocals.
That's cool though. That's cool.
Yeah,
like you say, Spotify's great. Like for the consumer, it's great. Yeah. Like I use Spotify all day, every day. So I still love it as a product. I just think they can do more to support the artists and bands, even if they were to just give them like a penny per stream.
Yeah,
it could be the complete, like, change their lives.
Do you find through the algorithms and things like that on Spotify? Do you find new bands and invest in them through Spotify, or do you've got your own search and you might see something on a playlist or whatever? How do you engage with music online?
Yeah, so my algorithm on Spotify, so for instance, like today is obviously New Music Friday. Well, I know it's going to be out on the as we're recording, it's New Music Friday. Yes. So I get the release radar that comes up. So it's not just bands that I follow, it's also like recommended bands. So today's release radar is, I'll tell you how many hours long it is. Where is it? It is 12 hours and 14 minutes long today.
There you go. Is that ready for your run, or have you been on your run?
I went my run this morning at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm still in my running gear.
That's cool. So who's on the list then? Who's popping up today?
So I've added about 50 songs onto my playlist. Yeah. So we've got new tunes: Sam Fender, Affleck's Palace, Sherlock's. Sorry, it's live in the background, my dog growling. Kid Violet from London, they're amazing. Planet, they're from Australia, they're great. Royston Club, we've got a new EP out. We've got a song from Zuzu from Liverpool, she's amazing. I could go on, I could just talk through the whole playlist. No,
it's great, isn't it? But like I use Apple, and Apple doesn't seem as good to find new stuff. The playlists aren't as sophisticated as Spotify, I find.
Yeah. I think Spotify's definitely improved within sort of the last 12 months in terms of like what you're listening to, and it creates playlists for you and stuff like that. So it is quite good. Like the algorithms are good, and it does bring up a lot of like new bands as well for me, which is good.
Yeah. How are you finding being a manager of a band then?
I love it.
Yeah, go on. Talk us about your role with the Raws and how you met them, and how it all came about as Sam, the band manager now.
So they messaged me on Instagram and they said,
Okay.
"Oh, do you know of any good bands managers, Sam?" And I was like, "Well, obviously, I know like people that do like bands management, but I wouldn't be able to say like what they'd actually be able to do for you,
Yeah.
whether they'd be good or not." And they were like, "Well, actually, we're messing you because we thought, would you like to give it a go?" And at first, I was like, "No, I can't manage bands. I can't do that." And then we all met on like a Zoom call like this, and we just all got on really well. So yeah, we just all get on really well. They're just great guys, and I can see what they see, like what they see in themselves, I can see in them as well. I totally believe in them, so that helps, I guess.
Well, I started managing a band about a year ago in lockdown, and the poor sods, all they wanted to do is just play live, and it all got depressing through lockdown when everything got took away from them and all that kind of stuff. How do you keep a young, passionate band motivated? And what tips would you give to other bands that might be watching this, that looking for a bit of inspiration?
I think I guess the key to anything really is good communication. So like we're always constantly thinking of like different things that we can do. Like today we're gonna release every month we're gonna do like a playlist where they all choose like a few tracks to go on a playlist. And I think like we just have regular chats, and we're in a group chat on WhatsApp. So I think we just talk a lot, and it's been quite hard the last couple of months because the singer was getting married, so it's all kind of, he's been really, really busy, so we've not been able to do anything, but it is difficult. And I think like especially the last 18 months have been just really frustrating for bands that have not been able to play, but hopefully that'll all change now. It's all back.
So what's the plan for the band then? What level are they at now, would you say? There's different tiers of the industry, isn't there? So you might get a band that they've all just got together. They've got a few songs. They're quite well rehearsed. There's a lot of work still to do to tighten up the band. Then maybe the next level is where RGM might come into the industry, where we might get you a bit of press. It might be your first review. It might be a gig with me down at Gulliver's in Manchester or whatever. And then there might be there's like another level of like. Where I see it as like, where the bigger national promoters are, and they put the band on in different places all over the industry, and then it starts taking off, and then they move to their own management team after that. Where do your boys like fit within the scale of things?
They've been a band for a long time, so about 10 years or so. So that they have kind of played. They've kind of played some big gigs, and then went away, and they got a Kickstarter campaign to crowdfund their album, which was released in May. So they've got a tour in a few weeks. They've got sold out dates in Edinburgh and Glasgow, and they're also doing Aberdeen and Newcastle. So get your tickets if you're listening. Aberdeen and Newcastle. And then I can't say too much. I can't say too much, but we do have plans for the spring next year for bigger shows and all around the UK as well. So I think it's going to be good. Like as soon as we can get out playing again, it's going to be good. But we are in touch with a couple of big promoters. So we just have to. I think next year is going to be big for them. Yeah.
So the festival season. I've seen you on Twitter enjoying the festival season, Sam. How have you found it this year, being back in festival mode and just getting out there and just cracking on and enjoying life again?
Oh, it's been amazing. So I went to Reading. I only went for one day. I went to Reading on Sunday. Then I was working at Isla White Festival. I was DJing.
Oh yeah,
with this feeling, So that was just the most amazing experience. But I spent the majority of my time at this feeling stage. But the amount of bands that I've obviously got to know over lockdown, seeing them play live and getting to meet them all and having a beer with them was just absolutely amazing. So it's good to be back.
Were you DJing this feeling stage there then?
Yeah.
And how was that?
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, I was ill for about a week after.
Have you done it a while? Have you been?
No, that was my first time.
Okay, so can anybody just DJ then?
Wow, I can't let you into the secrets there, Carl. Yeah, it's quite easy, really. Yeah. I'm always a little bit down on DJs because I just think it's playing one song after another, which to me seems easy, but I know that's a term like DJ. Like I don't want to take away from the craft of an actual DJ mixing and stuff. No, so it's basically playing songs, but it was loads of fun. You've got to be on the ball though, so
you've got to read the room, haven't you? I suppose that's a skill, isn't it? Reading the room and knowing what if a crowd's not particularly digging one song, then you could bring in the next song to win them back round again. And I suppose it's a constant battle to keep the crowd going.
It's kind of more chilled out than that. So everyone took it in turn to like do songs like in between the bands. Like we did
Yeah.
like on the Saturday night and the Sunday night, we did like our own little set on stage. And like then we had like a crowd to try and please. But it was just an amazing experience. I'm so thankful for them for asking me to come along.
Yeah. So, what kind of stories came out of Isla White then? Anything you can tell us about, or?
It was one of those really
That's put you on
crazy
the spot,
weekends.
sorry, mate.
No, that's okay. It was just one of those crazy weekends. So I got to the festival site at about midday on the Saturday, got back to my hotel 3 p.m. on Sunday.
Wow.
So it was a pretty wild night. So there was loads of the bands and stuff. We ended up back at one of the band's tents until, wow, all I can remember is it getting light and thinking, oh my God, I got to go back to the hotel. So I had to kit for a couple of hours on their tent floor. Yeah. And then, But no, obviously the Liam Gallagher, that was helicopter. I wasn't there, didn't see it, but
wow.
That was probably the most rock and roll moment of Isla White.
And you mentioned Liam Gallagher there, just announced Nebworth again, and we've got to go to that, haven't we?
Yeah, I was on the ball this morning, Carl. So I think it was latest Oasis News had tweeted that if you buy Liam's new record on vinyl or CD or whatever, he'll send you like a pre-sale link that's going out next. Well, I think it'll actually probably be a couple of days after this goes out.
Wow, okay.
So that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
He'll probably do 2 dates though. I imagine he's probably going to sell out the first one and then announce the second day.
Sure. Nostalgia. There's something to be had there, isn't there? I think just going back to the Lathams a little bit, they feel quite nostalgic. They feel like, particularly the music, it's got a bit of a Smiths vibe and that kind of stuff, and like it's got echoes of the former glory days. And there's something in nostalgia, isn't there?
Definitely. And I would say for the Lathams as well, they're all quite old souls. Like as people, they're all. It's almost like that they are really old souls, and like so, they got so much music inspiration. Smiths, Arctic Monkeys. There's definitely something coming. Like I felt it for a little while, but I said this last 6 months with the Snuts and the Lathams doing really well. It's good.
I've got an Arctic Monkeys story, Sam. If the regular listeners to this podcast will be sick of me saying this, but I like to bring it up at every opportunity. The Arctic Monkeys supported my band the first ever gig they played.
No way.
Yeah.
I would tell everyone that as well. That's amazing.
It's my favourite story in the world, and I don't make any bones of sharing it with the world at every opportunity. So thanks for bringing the Arctic Monkeys up and reminding me.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a story and a half. And hopefully we're gonna have a new Arctic Monkeys album coming.
Yes.
So mind you, this is the rumour that we've been hearing for a couple of years now. So until it's actually here,
every 2 or 3 years, they'll surprise us, won't they, again, which would be nice.
Yeah. I don't know where they're going to go next, though, after the last album.
Yeah.
Whether they'll go back to their more guitar kind of roots, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
Well, they're always interesting. Every time they bring a new album out, it's marketed a different way, and they look different, and they dress different, and they have a different sound, don't they? So how important do you think that is for bands to attempt and try and stay relevant?
I think it depends on the band. So I look at bands like Biffy Clyro, like they have not changed really ever, and they're still making like amazing records. So I think it just depends on the band really, and the kind of the fan base. I think it's quite good to evolve, but only if it's a natural evolution. I don't think you should go in and deliberately try and change everything up. I think it should just be a natural kind of growth. With Alex Turner, he's kind of like that, isn't he? I think that Alex Turner's been hiding away, and he's been let loose on the last album.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good. Hi, dog. What's the dog's name?
Lila. Sorry, Lila.
He's all right. He or she? Lila.
She. Lila. She's named after the Oasis song, of course.
Oh, of course. Hi, Lila.
Yeah, she likes to still. Hello, Carl. Yeah, she likes to get involved with everything I do.
Oh, brilliant. So, manager, champion of new music. How do you find, just going back to the manager thing again, how do you find, how were the band with the business side of it? Because the band that I manage, Sinclair, they hate that side of it, and they can't, and that's why I'm doing it for them, because all they want to do is the best bit, which is playing live and playing the songs. How do your guys, or when you're speaking to bands, how do you try and help them with the business boring part of it all?
I know that's the thing. It's just a lot of admin, isn't it, as well? But
Yeah.
no, I've been doing as much as I can for them.
Mm.
And there's still some stuff that they do, but I'm trying to take that responsibility away from them.
Yeah.
By doing all the boring contracts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the unglamorous side of it all. But I don't
yeah.
mind. I don't mind stuff like that.
People don't see that though, do they? Where people looking
No.
it up, and they might just be casual gig goers and that kind of stuff. They see the band and they just think, there's a business behind them, and the band has to be a business for them to survive, for them to pay the rent, to put it crudely,
Yeah.
don't they? So, what kind of how are your band? Do they all work as well, or do they?
Oh yeah, they've all got full-time jobs as
Yeah,
well. So yeah, it's obviously ideally in ideal world they do rock and roll for a living. But
yeah.
no, so yeah, they all work full time. So
Mm.
that kind of obviously helps. But for a lot of musicians that's their only income, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. What bands did you see at Isla White then? Who stood out for you? Back down
The
south.
Skinner Brothers were probably my favourite set.
Yeah.
Have you heard of them?
I have heard of them. Have they just announced a big support tour?
Kasabian.
That's it. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. Wow.
And they supported Mike Skinner as well, but they're absolutely fantastic. But the Crooks were amazing, the Claws were amazing.
Yeah.
Cruel Hearts Club, brilliant.
I love that. I saw them online. Female fronted band, aren't they?
That's it.
Am I allowed to say that? Is that me being a bit of a bloke in the industry saying a female fronted band?
No, I don't think so.
I'm always a bit cautious about it because I know
it's dodgy territory, isn't it?
It is, and I always like put my foot in it. I'm not meaning to, but just trying to work it out in my own head what's right.
Yeah, no, it's nice because it's nice to get that. The balance still isn't right. I think the amount of bands that come through, I think there are just more boys that get involved with bands, but there's a little bit. Megan Wynn, she was amazing.
Yes, yeah.
Jen and the Degenerates, they were absolutely fantastic. Put on an amazing performance.
We had Jen on a live stream during lockdown on our channel. We did a stream with her. I met her at an industry thing off the record in Manchester. Funny lass, that one.
She was fantastic. Yeah. What a performer. She was great. Yeah. And then who else did we have? Just trying to think of who else we had. The girls.
The Crooks. I interviewed the Crooks. You mentioned them earlier. They've been on a previous podcast as well. I know their manager Ben. I used to go to college with him. Years
you're from? Where do you live now then?
I'm from Sheffield, but live in Manchester now.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I know they're Chesterfield way.
Sheffield boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Crooks closed. They were the final band on the Sunday, and they're fantastic. It blows me away, some of the talent that on that stage is just amazing.
How was it like later on the Sunday? Is everybody just knackered and just wanting to get it out of the way, or has people got a second wind at that time?
Well, they were all at a funny time because everyone was walking back from the main stage and they were just walking past the tent. So I was literally pulling people in.
Okay. Good on you.
I was like, get your asses in here now. But yeah, no, they had the tent full up by the end. So yeah, it was good. But Sunday night, anyone, like Thursday night for the Speeding tent was amazing because the whole main arena was closed off. So the Speeding tent was like the main source of music on the Thursday night. So they had crowds going all the way back to like the food vans. It was great. Such a good atmosphere.
Yeah. Oh, what the Isla White Festival? I've never been to it myself personally. Is it a bit of a? Is it hard work to like get to and stuff? Because you have to get on. I know you've got to get on a boat to the island.
It's not. To be fair, it's not. Yeah, the journey to the actual festival is not that bad. No. So if you come off the ferry or the hovercraft, they've got double-decker buses that take you straight to the festival. Oh, it's so much fun, Carl. They go so fast. I went on the ferry last time. The hovercrafts are brilliant. It's just like a massive speedboat basically that takes you.
I like the idea of a hovercraft. I'm going next year just for the hovercraft, I think, as well.
It's so much fun. I've been to Isla White quite a few times. But no, there's always buses as soon as you get off at the end of you walk to the end of the pier. Yeah. And you've got buses that take you to the festival site. But I stayed in a hotel like the other side of the island, so my hotel was a real pain to get to and fro from. But no, it's they put that the transport's really, really good and simple.
Yeah.
And it's a great festival, like just one of my favourite festivals.
It's got a lot of history as well, that festival, isn't it? The newer festivals that pop up learn from festivals like Isla White, Leeds Reading, what other ones are obviously Glastonbury, that kind of stuff. The ones that they've got that they've got that history. You know, they've had the Who on and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff, and they've had the big names through the years. When they used to be free and people and hippies used to turn up. That those,
that's it.
historic festivals, there's something about them, isn't there? There's something in the air at those type of places in festivals.
Definitely. I had the pleasure of meeting John Giddens as well at the Isle of Wight
Yeah,
Festival, which was really great.
yeah,
At Liam Gallagher's set. Yeah, I got to meet John. So the guy that runs it.
yeah,
He was lovely. He had a real like aura about him. Just he
yeah.
was really, really nice, but you can just tell like he was just like a huge character and just a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Isle of Wight is legendary, isn't it?
What did you talk to him about?
I can't remember now, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'd had a few beers by that
Okay,
point.
okay, fair enough.
No, I was only chatting to a few minutes, just like
Yeah,
I said,
okay, okay,
nice to meet you.
sure.
And yeah, so he got us all backstage
Oh,
for the
nice.
little backstage area
Hmm.
for Liam Gallagher's set, which was
Yeah.
really amazing. So
Did,
I think
did
we'll
you
just
meet,
say thank you for that.
did you meet Liam? Did you see him coming on or going off or anything like that?
No, I didn't go near the stage. I was just stood by the front of the stage
Right.
watching.
Yeah.
But no, it would have been ideal. It would have been great if I could, but I didn't go there for that.
Oh, no, I get you. Well,
It was a pleasure to be there. It would have been
yeah.
amazing, but
Well, the backstage when I were a young kid, I used to dream about being backstage at places. And since I started RGM and covering music and being backstage a few times,
it's not
the
very
best.
glamorous, is
It's
it?
not the best place to be, is it? It's just
Not.
you're not missing anything by not being backstage. I don't think so. People that say, "Oh, you've been backstage," I'm like, "Well, it's basically a portaloo. There's a few beers there, and there might be a sandwich for summer. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
like the holy grail of places to be at all. The backstage bit.
It's not. I think people imagine it to be like all glamorous and all
Yeah.
these celebrities all milling about, but it's normally completely empty. And like
Yeah.
you said, there's a few warm beers on the side.
Yeah. So what kind of things are you seeing in the industry at the minute? And what am I trying to ask you here, Sam? Topics in the. I've just put a note to myself. Topics in the industry. And you know when you write yourself a note and you don't know what you mean by it. I'm trying to think. What kind of like themes are you seeing in the music industry at the minute? What's new out there? What's exciting? What's different? What's floating your boat at the minute out there in the music? What gets you? What keeps you going?
I think there's I think like with the upcoming, because I'm obviously just upcoming indie scene, but there are a lot of bands that like have their own kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like I said, this band from London, Kid Violet,
Mm.
like they've just got this Joy Division like edgy sound to them, and
Yeah.
I listen to them and I just think, wow, like they're just so different. I think there's a lot of bands as well that are kind of like within the indie kind of scene, but
Mm.
obviously don't know if I don't know if you've heard of Brooke Coombe from Coombe,
Name-
the
name-
singer.
I will check it out after this interview anyway.
So she is
Oh,
amazing.
sorry.
She's a singer songwriter.
Yeah.
I think she's Glasgow, from Glasgow, and but she sings. She's got a voice as powerful as Adele. She plays her own guitar. She plays piano. So like she's kind of in fitting like with this whole indie scene, but she's like Beyonce or someone. She's just
Wow.
amazing. So yeah, I think it's just like this whole indie route we've still got, but there's a lot of like strong bands out there that have this kind of different sound that really stand out.
How do you know, as a promoter, I was hoping after lockdown that all the noise online is that everybody's dying to go to a gig again. And after lockdown, I've had a few shows myself. Some have done okay, some have done really well, some have been quite quiet, and I've been surprised at how hard work it's been as a promoter to get people out of the house to see new music, even after lockdown. I thought it was going to be easier than this.
Yeah.
How do you find that side of things?
Well, I think personally for me, I haven't really booked many new gigs because of
Yeah.
all the rescheduled gigs from prior to lockdown.
Yeah.
My calendar's completely full of all rescheduled stuff. So I think that is something to do with it. I think people have got all these gigs and festivals that they've pre-booked and they've all just been rescheduled now for like this autumn or beginning of next year. I think people are not booking like many new gigs. And I think also like during lockdown, we had like more disposable income that we've kind of got used to spending maybe elsewhere.
Oh, I know. It's
So I think
so expensive to go out as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last night, I went to the Blinders last night and looked at my phone this morning to see how much I'd spent. I'm like, oh, here we go. that were a pricey one. And, you know, there's definitely something in that, though, about, you know, people having all these rearranged gigs that have just been just there's people that are at gigs every bloody night because things have been rearranged and people
exactly.
aren't buying new tickets maybe now because they're just getting the backlog out of the way. There's something in that.
Yeah, so from my experience, that's why I've not really booked that many new. I've only probably booked maybe 4 or 5 new gigs since lockdown's been over, because I've just got, like, I'm going to see the Snuts 3 times in a week. I've got Fontaine's DC like 3 times in a week, because they're all just rescheduled shows, and whether I go to them or not remains to be seen, but they've all been rescheduled so close to each other. So obviously there's a lot of people probably hesitant to buy new things while they're waiting for reschedules to be announced as well, because obviously they don't want to book a gig and then they say, oh, this gig's going to be on at so and so. I think that's probably a reason for it. I don't think people have lost their love for live music.
No,
it's just other commitments.
it just felt like as soon as lockdown had finished, everybody's just going to go out and go to gigs. That's how it felt like online, and I've just not felt it yet. So I don't know if that were a little bit of virtue signaling from a few of the online community, or it's just me being a bit cynical. Probably me being cynical, I think.
I think it'll all come back. I think from next year, people are going to have more time and
get the backlog. It's the backlog. It's got to be the backlog, isn't it? Because
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah,
I had a gig in Manchester last week, and we were up against the lottery winners at the Ritz. Their homecoming gig, sold out lottery gig. Cortina's at Old Trafford.
Oh no.
The Slow Readers Club, a lot of their fans come to our gigs because it's that kind of demographic. They were on in Sheffield. Deja Vega, they were on in another demographic where we,
What gig did you put on?
I put a RGM Live at Gulliver's. So like grassroots bands, and just putting. We do one a month in Manchester. You're very welcome. If you're ever in town, pop yourself down, Sam. You'll be more than welcome to come and join us.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, I do.
Was it last Saturday that it was on?
Yeah,
last Saturday. My friends also had a gig in Manchester on Saturday as well. Okay. Listen Up Music, they had Moonlight Parade and a few other bands playing. So I know a lot of people went to that. But yeah, I think it's like you said, I think there's just a lot of gigs all being put on again now. Yeah. But I think it'll all kind of level itself out again soon enough.
Good. How do you find, just one last question, I think, and I'm trying to word this in a way that makes sense. As a magazine owner and runner, I keep seeing a lot of elaborate tales from other blogs within the industry claiming to be doing quite a lot of things where they're not. Do you think there should be more regulation of blogs and the press in general? Do you think it's a problem? I'm trying to find and look for stories out there in the industry, and I'm finding quite a lot of false claims out there that I want to call out and make people aware of.
I'm not quite sure I understand. So what, people are writing blogs about the magazine? Sorry.
No, it's fine. Words are failing me again. It's I should be better at this. But I've seen, for example, there's a blog out there that keeps saying that they've got like 5 or 6 million views on it. And I know for a fact that can't be right, because websites like the NME don't get those type of figures.
Well,
it's people making false claims and selling those claims onto bands and working with them and not. I don't think they're being genuine with the exposure that.
Do you know what I think, Carl? I think don't worry about everyone else is doing. I just focus on what you're doing, love. Yeah, it's the same with bands and stuff too. Like sometimes you might see bands get accused of like buying followers and listens and stuff like that. Yeah, and I just think if that's the case, let them get on with it. If that's the case, if that is what happens, I wouldn't put too much thought in it really. If it was me, well,
the only reason why it troubles me a bit is because I think bands get duped by it, and I want to look out for them.
Well,
I should just let it be, shouldn't I?
I'm such a diplomat.
No, well done, Sam. Well done, mate. Brilliant. So
yeah, I don't know. Really, I don't know. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So
yeah, okay. These little things niggle me, and it's for the right reasons. And we've talked about these type of things on previous podcasts and had frank and honest chats within the industry about these type of things. And I've just seen a little spike in those type of comments recently, and I was just interested in
raising
awareness of it, so people are aware of it, really.
Yeah, I guess it's up to you. I
Yeah.
guess it's up to you. I don't really know much about it really, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fair enough. Well, what you got? What's coming up in Sam World then? What have you got
What
coming
have we
up?
got
And
coming up?
yeah,
I'm going to watch the Rifles next Thursday.
Mhm.
Going to meet Dino,
Yeah.
because me and Dino have been good friends over the last 18 months. It's gonna be good to meet him. And then what else have I got? We're hosting our gig in Liverpool on the 23rd of October, which would be good. I'm going to see Tom Grennan on the 22nd.
Yeah.
What else have I got? Obviously we've got the Ras going on tour the week after.
Yeah.
I've got loads of gigs.
Are you
Just
going on
gigs
tour with the
until the
lads
end of
then?
the year.
Are you going on tour with them?
I'm going to the Newcastle and hopefully the Glasgow date the week after, because they play in Aberdeen the same night as my show in Liverpool, so it clashes,
Okay.
unfortunately. But that was already pre-done, so I'm going to try and get to a couple of them. But obviously, it's just a lot of travelling. But
It is a
next
lot of
year I'll be
travelling,
with them.
yeah, you get about, don't you? Well, we need to celebrate people like you, Sam, in the industry. People that are out there in the world, just enjoying life, sharing the good music around. I applaud you for doing that, because I've seen you shouting about bands online, and that's why I wanted to have a chat with you today. So I really appreciate your time. Keep doing the great
Oh,
work that you're doing, Sam, mate, and
thank
thanks for
you.
joining us today on the podcast.
That's lovely, Carl. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime, mate. Thank you.